So as I discussed in an earlier post, I've decided to create a silent film for my short film. I kind of chose this firstly because for my AS piece, I think the thing that I should have not done was include the dialogue. I was quite afraid because, like, conventionally you always include dialogue in it, and when I've watched films I've only ever seen them when they've got dialogue in it, so I was quite afraid that it might be quite boring with just music. But through my research of silent films, I've actually found out that they're so effective, and if used correctly and like really good music that's composed to direct action is used, it can look really, really good. So last year I just used SoundCloud, which is a site that you can find copyright music on. I think it was quite effective of like the music I used, and I really liked the feel of like the piano. But obviously because it is like just like a sound that anyone can use, it kind of has that feeling of like no originality, and it's quite like samey. So this year I kind of really wanted to focus on my music and kind of like explore kind of different elements I could use. I kind of had two options. I had my friend Flo, who's like a great musician and got a beautiful singing voice. But kind of with how my film was going, I didn't even want any like lyrics to my music. I just kind of would quite like music that was specifically composed for action. So I decided to have a chat with Alex, who's in my year at school, who's a brilliant composer and is looking to do some stuff at music for uni. So it was quite helpful because he could use my piece as part of his portfolio. I had to give him kind of my basic structure of my film. So once creating it, and as you see on my blog posts of what it was before my music got added, I gave him that and kind of gave him an outline of what I kind of wanted my film to be. So I kind of said, to start with, she's in a routine and she's kind of not open to the world yet, and it's kind of the revelation is when she first sees that first pair of shoes, and then from there it's all about exploring the sights and kind of finding herself and like that inner self that she didn't know really existed. And kind of also I've got the romantic feeling, and I've kind of got the connection between her and the male character, and the question and mystery that is asked by the audience as to like whether they knew each other, whether they're connected, whether he's the one leaving the shoes, and it's all quite thought-provoking. And I wanted music that was quite reflective and had that slower pace. So he kind of went away with what I'd said and came back, and I think it's a beautiful piece that he's composed, and it's amazing because when I've put it against my action, every single little detail is matched exactly compared to the music, and I think that's what really makes my film seem like a silent film, because within a silent film it's not just the action that's got to be really expressive, but also the music, and the music is as important, I feel, as the action and the actual images that are being presented to the audience. So I'm really, really happy with the music that I've got, and I think now I've got the music together and put my logo together, it's actually feels like a short film, and it's kind of taken it to another dimension. And even though there are some bits that did kind of come up, because obviously once it's been composed you can't really edit it, it kind of has to stick the same. It's really brought about the European film feel that I wanted, and the more slower takes and the longer shots, and it's much less Hollywood and much more kind of artistic and art house kind of films that maybe would be distributed at like Cinema City or something, or at Sundance, and kind of more unique, and for me more of what short film is. A short film for me is an expression. It's 5 minutes of, you can't create a full feature length film, and it's that 5 minutes to really create a connection towards you and the audience. And I think through the music that I've chosen, I think it really just has that connection and is really thought-provoking, and for me kind of adds that European twist to it, which was after all I was looking for. So nope, I'm really happy with the music that I've chosen, and that's a little blog post about my music.